I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so great. So I'm going to pass it over to you, and you're going to take us on this mindful journey for the next half an hour. Yes?
Yes, I'm excited. All right, let me get my screen share going.
Sure. I will do a tap dance here while you do that. My
Right.
pleasure. This is such a great topic, so important, as an uncle of little kids and stuff. I love all the little ones in my life, and I pass this on to my family and to for myself as a mindful uncle.
Yes, 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 yes.
Are you able to share your screen?
I am. I'm working on it.
Okay, we just want to make
Okay.
sure you have the right permissions, if that's
Uh,
an issue. Should be a
okay.
button
Let's
down on
see.
the bottom, little green button, I think. Oh, there we go. Now you're a co-host. There we go.
Okay. Let's see. All right. Are we coming in? I think we are here almost.
There we go. Coming in for the
Okay.
landing. Perfect.
We did it.
We did it. Da, 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 da. The mindful parent, mindful parenting in the modern world.
Yes, we did it. All
We did
right.
it, friends.
Welcome, everyone. I am so excited to be here. And thank you for the lovely introduction. And we will just jump right on in. A little bit about myself before we get going on this topic. I, like has been beautifully said, am Marisela Alvarez. And besides a coach and a doula and a new parent educator, my most prized titles are wife of my husband of 20 years and mommy to 4 teenage boys and mommy to a fur baby with 3 legs. So you can imagine how mindfulness has needed to come into my life and play part of my journey in life. So a little bit overview of what we're going to be chatting about today. We're going to discuss what is mindfulness. Who is considered a parent? What is mindful parenting? What are the benefits to mindful parenting? And of course, the tips to being able to navigate this parenting mindfully. And I have 3 invitations for you. The first one is to be open. All of us are in a different stage of our mindfulness journey. Some of us might be hearing about mindfulness for the first time. Some of us might be what is considered a guru and been practicing mindfulness for decades. And so I just invite you to be open to this experience and learning more about mindfulness. I also invite you to give yourself grace. We're all learning. We're all have moments where like, oh, darn, I shouldn't have said that or should have done that. And so give yourself grace. We're always learning, and we can just forgive ourselves for the times that we weren't shining our best. And I also invite you to take notes, have a pencil and paper, and look for your golden nugget. I set the intention that all of us will leave this experience having learned something. Maybe it'll be a thought, maybe it'll be something shared, but we always have something we can learn to help us be better people every day. So what is this mindfulness? And really the nitty-gritty of mindfulness is being fully present in the moment. It's being present with your feelings, with your surroundings, knowing, being aware of where you are, being aware of what you're thinking and how you're acting. It's a real in the moment awareness of your whole self. So who is the parent? And for this discussion today, we're going to go really down into the deepness of who a parent is and the etymology of the word parent, the history, the root of the word parent is to bringing forth. So for us, we're bringing forth. If you are in a place where you're the birthing person, or you're a teacher, a coach, a friend, an aunt, an uncle, we are all being brought into this mindful parenting. If you have young people in your life, then you're bringing them forth in life. And so you're considered a parent. So this is for you. So what is mindful parenting? And mindful parenting really is an approach, and it's being fully involved, fully present in the moment that you're having with the child or the teenager or the baby, with the little person. It's being fully there with them in that moment. Why? Why mindful parenting? Why not some other way? There's lots of reasons why, and I've just got a few here for us. And part of it is mindful parenting. It fosters a deeper connection. If you have some young person that you want to have a deeper connection, you want to be able to really be that leader in their life, mindfulness. It promotes emotional well-being. It helps you feel centered and focused. It helps you have a sense of control. If you ever felt like you're with young little people and everything's like chaotic, mindfulness can help bring that back into control. It brings positive and loving interactions, less stress, less anger, less feelings of like overwhelmed. I've been the overwhelmed mommy for many, many years, and I still kind of go that way. So help less of that to happen. And I love this. Mindfulness parenting shows those other people we're with, those little people with, how they can have positive interactions, how they can have positive coping mechanisms. And it creates trust between you and your little one. Here's a fun reminder. We're not going to be mindful 100% of the time. We are human. We just are. We're here having this human experience, and we will not be mindful 100% of the time. And that is okay. Because like we said at the beginning, we give ourselves grace for those unmindful moments that maybe we've kind of lost our cool. So here we go. Here's the tips. Tip number 1 is to breathe. And that might seem simple, but in the moment of chaos, it might not be so simple. And so this tip is really to take a moment before reacting, before going, what are you doing? And it's to inhale 3 seconds, exhale 3 seconds, and really be breathing, accepting of your feelings with no judgment, accepting that you feel angry, accepting that you feel happiness without judging those feelings. So I thought we'll just start off this session with a small little mindfulness practice, and we will together take a moment, and we're going to inhale 3 seconds and exhale 3 seconds. So you're going to inhale 2, 3, and then exhale. And then there you go. You can go to the next moment, a little more centered, a little more present, and you took your moment. Tip number 2. And this one is similar, and I call it take the pause. Now, when we take the pause, we're going to stop. We're going to recognize whatever feeling that we're feeling, and we're going to accept it with no judgment. So we don't have to focus on like, am I breathing long enough? Or, I'm going to start hyperventilating because I need to keep breathing through this moment. We're just going to take the pause, recognize those feelings, be like, okay, this is just how I'm feeling at this moment, but I can still be here, and accept it with no judgment. Tip number 3. And I love this one. It is Post-it. All right. So I have my favorite little Post-it notes here. And Post-it notes can be our mindfulness friend. And this is my tip. My suggestion is get yourself some Post-it notes and post reminders, because in the moment, it's easy to forget. Wait, what do I want to do? Do I want to pause? Do I want to breathe? So you're going to put little reminders on your Post-it note and place them where you're going to look. So if you're losing your presentness in the morning and you tend to be looking at the clock, and the clock is telling you you're late, you're going to be late to work, and you kind of start feeling less centered, a little agitated. But if you have that Post-it note there mounted on that clock that says, just breathe, it's a friendly little reminder like, okay, I can be in this moment. Or if you're like me and things start getting rocky, you start stressing out, you start losing your centeredness, and you go to the refrigerator. All right, can you relate? Am I the only one that does that one? And you can have that Post-it note there on the refrigerator that could say, just pause, or take a break, drink some water. So these Post-it notes can help us just place them where they're gentle reminders to be present, bring yourself back to centered mindfully. All right, tip number 4, and it is this: you own your time. And with your time, you can choose to practice. Practice makes better. Mindfulness is a journey. And so you can actually schedule your mindfulness into your life. And sometimes it can be a little intimidating. What do you mean schedule? Like, I have a million trillion things to do. I'm busy life. But this is gentle scheduling. And it's scheduling the time and setting the purpose that you're going to practice mindfulness. And it can be as simple as, on Fridays, I'm going to take lunch by myself and I'm going to take a meal mindfully. And you'll be present in that moment. You'll focus on how the food tastes, on the textures. And it's just a moment that you can practice being centered, practice that mindfulness. You can also pick a mundane activity like washing the dishes and decide, okay, on Tuesday nights when I wash the dishes, I'm going to practice mindfulness. I'm going to experience and feel the hot water on my hands and what the soap feels. And as you practice these mindfulness, being present in the moment, then when there's other times in your life where it might be a little more challenging to be mindful, you've already been practicing, because practice makes better. Tip number 5, and I call this one the no more borings. All right. When we have young people in our life, sometimes there's activities that can get boring. And we can feel like we've read Good Night Moon a million trillion times. And we can feel like we heard about the Minecraft game and about how they placed all these blocks, and it can get boring and we can get lost and our thoughts can go over to a million other places. When we find ourselves in this moment where we're feeling bored and our mind is wandering and we're no longer really there and present in the moment, and we know that moment's coming, we can actually choose that even though I've read Goodnight Moon for the last 365 days, this is a new moment. Every moment really is a new moment. And we can take that moment and choose, okay, I've done this before, but I'm going to be fully involved because this is a new moment. Tip number 6, and it is this: schedule your success. What does that mean? Mindfulness, it needs no distractions, right? We are focused, we are present in the moment. And when we schedule for success, that means we're going to decide this afternoon at 4 o'clock when I'm with my child, for 15 minutes, I'm going to put the phone away. I'm going to put my email away. I'm going to have the rest of the kids watching a movie, and I'm going to have all those other distractions away, and I'm going to be here present with this little person. And it can help us feel like, okay, like I was successful. Like I can schedule my success. I can schedule and make sure that all distractions are put to side and have this moment with the person that you're trying to be mindful with. All right. Tip number 7. And this one tends to be for the older child, for a teenager, for someone that's older, because what we're going to be doing with this tip is asking the person, the little people, to allow us to say, you know what, give me one moment while I finish writing this email, while I finish paying this bill, while I finish washing this last dish. You ask for a pause and say, I want to hear the story. I want to be present with you. So just give me one moment. And of course, this tip is for someone that can actually has the capacity to wait a couple minutes. And then you can be fully engaged in mindfully listening to that child or being with that child to play the game, to read the book. So this is really vulnerable on your part, saying, hey, like, I need a moment so I can be fully there with you. And that is so valuable when people, the little people in your life, can say, hey, like, they really do want to be here with me, and they much rather have your full presence than just kind of half while you're washing the dishes, hearing their story. And here is tip number 8. And this is an interesting practice which has a lot of value, and it is really beneficial to use when you've had a really upsetting situation, some kind of traumatic event, something that really has you and the other little person in your life kind of off-centered. You're not feeling quite yourselves, and you need to come back into yourselves. And this tip is called call yourself back to beingness. And what is beingness? It's being here, present. And so the way this tip works is wherever you are, you can do this anywhere. You could be in a car, you could be in a room, and together, you're gonna look around the room, and here we have a picture of a room. You can see that. And you're gonna point or touch the object, depending on what the situation is, and you're gonna say its name. So, oh, there's the TV, and there's the dog. And maybe if the dog's there, you can pet the dog if that's can work for you. Oh, there's the plant. And as you look around the room, and by naming the items, by touching them, it brings you back into being present, the beingness, the mindfulness. And you can simply do this for a few minutes or until you actually feel like you're both back centered together. Tip number 9. And this one's always a little hard for me to digest. It's hard for me to say, and it is self-care. We hear about self-care so much. We hear about how we need to put our oxygen mask on first and then give it to help the little people get theirs on. And I realize that it's easier said than done. And yet it is of utmost importance. Self-care, physical self-care, emotional self-care, mental self-care. And why? Why is self-care tied? Why is this tip tied to mindfulness? Because if we're too tired and all we can think about is how tired we are, we're not going to be present for the young person. If we are hungry and all we can think about is how we're starving and want to go eat, we're not going to be present. If we're just feel like, oh, I haven't been able to take care of myself, how am I going to take care of someone else? It's going to be harder to be present and mindful. And so really this self-care helps to set us up for the being present for the people in our life. And tip number 10, gratitude. And we hear quite frequently, gratitude, be grateful. And this tip is what I call a living list. Why is it a living list? What is a living list? I talk about living lists quite often. And a living list is not just a list that we're going to fill it out one day. Oh yeah, here I'm grateful for, these 10 things. And then we kind of fold it up and we put it away. a living list is ever being looked at. This living list of gratitude is always being added to. And when we look at what we're grateful for, when we are able to keep looking at that list, and we keep breathing life into it, when we keep adding to it, we keep breathing life into the gratitude. And when we can look at our lives, we can look at our surroundings and be grateful, it helps to foster the sense of mindfulness, the sense of presence, the sense of no judgment. I am grateful for whatever it is that's on our list. And tip number 11, which is this, it's single tasking. We hear about multitasking all the time, and as people who are having little people in our lives, we are multitasking probably pretty much all the time, right? We have a million things to do. If you're a teacher, you're trying to teach and make sure that everyone's behaving and everyone's safe and that the classroom is clean and functioning. And so we're multitasking. We have all these different things, activities going on at the same moment. But single tasking, this is to intentionally choose to only do one thing at a time. If it's, we're going to listen to music, that's literally all we're doing instead of listening to music and cleaning. And when we're able to just slow down a little bit and just do one thing at one time, it brings this mindfulness, it brings this presence into our life. And then when we do it with the person, the little people in our lives, they can experience that and they won't have everything going on at the same time. We can enjoy this music together. We can enjoy the watering plants together. It's this one item, one activity at a time. Tip number 12, and it's intentionality. I love intention. I love talking about intention. It is a tool. It's probably the easiest tip I'm going to share today because all you have to do is set your intention. You either set your intention verbally, you say it out loud, I intend, and then fill in the blank. Or you just think it. You say, okay, when I go and do pickups this afternoon, I intend to, listen to the after school stories and be present. Or we can even write them down. Maybe you have a mindfulness intention journal and you take a moment and you write what your intentions are. And that's it. What we intend is how the end is going to be. What we intend to do, the energy that we put into what we're going to do is really going to dictate what's going to happen. So if you intend to be mindful, then that is what's going to happen. And this tool is super simple because that's all you have to say in your mind, out loud, write it down, just set your intention of what kind of mindfulness you want to have that day, that moment, that afternoon, and then let the intention lead the way. All right. And here we go, folks. A little recap of what we have been discussing. The first tip I shared was to breathe, to have that 3 second in, 3 second out, no judgment, feel the feels and allow the moment. You have to take the pause, just take a moment, recognize those feelings, be okay with those feelings, say, I understand I'm feeling it and it's okay. And then proceed into the next moment. You have your Post-it notes. They are your friends. They are your special, kind, gentle reminders. Put them in places that you will look, especially in those moments where it's becoming more difficult. And you own your time. Practice makes better. So schedule your moment of practicing mindfulness. It's as simple as saying, Fridays at lunchtime, I'm going to take my lunch alone and I'm going to be fully present in the moment of eating my lunch. And you're practicing your mindfulness. The no more borings. It's the every moment is a new moment. So even though you read Goodnight Moon or you've heard the same video game story a million times, it is a new moment. And you can forget about those a million other times and be present in that one. And you can schedule your success. You can schedule away the distractions so you can be present for the moment that you want to be present in. And ask for the pause. Ask the person who needs you in the moment. Say, you know what? I just need one more minute, need a couple minutes, and then I'm going to hear that story and so you can be fully present in it. And then calling back your beingness. I love this, especially when you have been really off-centered, you had something traumatic happen. Look around the room, point at it, touch it, say its name so you can come back, be centered, be mindful, be present back into your environment. Self-care, which sometimes might be one of the hardest of these tips. When you're taking care of yourself, then you can be present for the people in your lives. Gratitude, the living list of gratitude. This is the list that you're going to be constantly looking at, constantly adding to. Maybe you add to 3 items a week. Maybe you add to it daily, but it's a living list. It's not a list that gets folded up and put in the back of your desk. This is a list that lives and grows and breathes. And single tasking. We know all about multitasking and we're all so good at it. But single tasking, taking and deciding, okay, I'm going to just do one thing. I'm only going to be listening to music. I'm only going to be washing the dishes, whatever that one thing is, and intentionality, which might be one of the easiest ones. It's simply setting the intention, verbally, mentally, writing it down in written form, just simply stating, I intend, and then you fill in the blanks, because what we intend will become the end. It will become what you want it to be. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your lives for this little while. I hope that you have been able to find a nugget. You've had a thought, a golden nugget of truth, of something that can help you. And I remind you to give yourself grace, that life is a journey. Life is exciting. And as we live more mindfully, we'll be present in our own lives and in the lives of the little people we love. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Hunter.
Oh, thank you, Maricela. That was so fun. Your energy is so it's like a warm, cozy blanket that I just want to wrap up in, but it's also like invigorating. So thank you. So many great tips in there. Some of which I do, some of which I learned that are helpful. I'm a big fan of the little notes as well. I have one I would like to share with you if I can.
Yes, I will love it.
Is hanging on my door. So I made this, there was like, there was like a box that I got that had like some cute animals on it. And I was like, it's cute, but I don't want to throw this box away. So I made this little sign for myself that says, remember to pause.
Oh, I love it. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's just a cute, silly way to remind myself that it's like, take time, like to pause. There are 2 pause here. And it's just got to take those moments, right? Because it's so easy to get caught up in the moment. I love the coming back to beingness exercise that you offered up. I practiced that while you were talking. I was like, oh, yeah, here we are back in the room. This is great. Really like put my feet right here. There's the dog, plant. Yes. Very, very helpful stuff. What else? There was another one that I really loved too. Oh, just all of it. You're just such a delight. Please come back, do this again with us. So fantastic. How do folks stay in contact with you? How can they reach out?
Oh, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. So my business, my coaching business is mindlightwellbeing.com. So if you go to mindlightwellbeing.com, you can find me. I love to support. I love people. So you can always reach out to me. I love people and I love supporting. So I'm always here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We had such a good time. And please come back. And I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. And I just have to say, your kids are so lucky to have you, and everyone that you're around, they're lucky to be in your presence. You're a gift.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I do lose my cool, but we can always give ourselves grace, right? It's
That's
okay.
right.
Every new
That's
moment.
right.
New moment. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay. Have a great now. Thanks so much.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.